Hey everybody, Roxabox90 here with a speculation discussion video about checking in on the Planeswalkers. Wizards just gave us an update on all the Planeswalkers, letting us know where they are at. You can read the whole article on your own. A lot of the Planeswalkers are kind of pointless what they're doing, and it's mostly because they've been put in for having new characters for cards and for being able to make Planeswalkers for colors they haven't done before or done to death with other characters. Being said, a lot of Planeswalker cards and characters don't have much to do story-wise. So we're going to focus here on the ones that might actually matter, and I'll briefly skim over the rest, but you guys can read them up on your own. Ajani. So we just had Ajani in Journey into Nyx, which it seems we're not going to see him again for a little while, even though he's still on Theros. He's kind of mad at the gods, which makes sense because they're all jerks. Every single one of them is a jerk. And Ajani is hanging out there, for lack of a better term, which is weird because M15, if it's story-wise, we can't really, I don't really know how they're going to fit Ajani in. I mean, they could put him as a reprint, but that defeats the idea of having a story-driven, or maybe it doesn't really matter for all the Planeswalkers. At least some of them are in the story. But Ajani here is very mad, and we just had a great one. We really don't need a new Ajani. Ashiok was just printed, not really doing a whole lot, one of the newer ones. Again, Chandra is sad because she screwed up horribly and let out the Eldrazi, so it's really all her fault, even though it's really the Planeswalker Ramaz's fault. But she realizes that since that Nicol Bolas is behind things, and because she's Chandra, she doesn't really have any chance of dealing with Nicol Bolas. So she's going to just go back and continue training a Pyromancer, or I guess she's going to go back to Regatha. And I hope in her semi-temporary retirement, Wizards has time to think about how to make her into a really good standard playable Planeswalker and not one that barely does anything most of the time. Dak Faden, we just saw him in Conspiracy, one of the smaller story arcs. His arc is really outside of a lot of the other ones, and there's a whole comic series dedicated to him. He's on Theros for some reason now. Something to do with he stole an artifact. He's trying to find more elements of the artifact to deal with it, but we just saw him in Conspiracy. He's really there more of as a filler and an outside story arc production guy. Domri Raid's also a newer Planeswalker, not really doing much at all, even though cool idea of having the youngest Planeswalker out there. Elspeth is not dead. She is definitely guaranteed in the Underworld. Although here it says that she bargained with Erebos to release Daxos in exchange for herself. So did she make this deal before she went to deal with Xenagos? Because that's pretty crafty. But of course she's done with gods, so Erebos did release Daxos, but he did as a return, which means Daxos is not himself. He doesn't have any of his memories, which defeats the purpose. Thank you, Erebos and Heliod, for both being jerks, and all the rest of the god pantheon for being jerks and ridiculous people. And now Elspeth is stuck in the Underworld, and I have no idea what she's going to be doing. I'm sure she's going to get out at some point. Black-white Planeswalker, maybe? Or maybe not even a Planeswalker. She might have lost her spark. It's not exactly clear what happens when a Planeswalker dies, because as we'll get to the bottom, Xenagos may or may not also be in the Underworld and or maybe not be dead. It's very unclear how that works. But hopefully we'll see her again. Garruk we're going to get much more story of in M15. Right now they're just leaving it that he's continuing to be influenced by the Veil Curse, and that's causing lots of problems. Yay. Gideon Jura, I'll put Gideon Jura and Nissa together. Pretty much the two of them are trying to deal with the Eldrazi outbreak, destruction of Zendikar. Problem is, Nissa is a moron. She let the three Eldrazi, the three huge ones, go out into the universe, because if we can get you away from Zendikar, maybe Zendikar will survive. This is brilliance. This is such incredible sarcastic brilliance. What is she even thinking? She thinks letting loose the three Eldrazi away from a controlled plane is a good idea. So then they all split up and go blow up everything in the universe, and this is smart. I have no idea. It doesn't even fix the problem, because there are tons of Eldrazi still on Zendikar. So Zendikar might last a little longer. Doesn't have much in terms of good chances, and now she just let three huge Eldrazi out to go blow up the rest of the universe. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, it's just so stupid. I'm not expecting to see Gideon. I hope to see him in M15, but I'm not expecting to see him until the return to Zendikar, which will probably be in the next year or two, I would think. Jace is I don't even know what he's doing, really. He's the Living Guild pack on Ravnica, but we're not going back to Ravnica for a while, so I don't really know how they're going to bring him into the story again. I'm sure, though, because he's so important, he's going to be somehow involved. That's just guaranteed. Karn is usually connected to Phyrexia, and Phyrexia hasn't been around since New Phyrexia, that is. And Karn while Venser sacrificed himself so Karn could escape, I don't really know what Karn is going to be doing in the meantime. I doubt we'll see him until we either return to Phyrexia or some kind of artifact plane. He doesn't seem to make many appearances otherwise, unless Phyrexia is involved. Kiora is also one of the newer Planeswalkers, not really doing anything. She's fighting Thassa. Hopefully she'll punch Thassa in the nose and take her ego down about 5 of a billion notches. Koth somehow survived a bunch of Phyrexian Obliterators, even though he's one of the weakest loyalty Planeswalkers. Well, he's a weak loyalty Planeswalker, and he survived a bunch of Obliterators, but he is alive. We have the Magma Spray. It's not just made-up artwork. He is alive somehow. I don't know how he's going to be back in the story, but he actually is part of the story, and would like to see more about what he's going to be doing. Liliana Vess, they showed this artwork again, probably because they're calling her Liliana Vess here, but again, we really don't know if she's going to be Liliana the Veil in M15, or a new Liliana, or Liliana Vess reprinted. Don't really know. She's having problems with the Chain Veil, which implies here that it implies. A lot of things say that it's probably not going to be Liliana the Veil, but this gives them a good out if they choose not to make her, because they're saying the Veil's power is causing problems. Nicol Bolas is being all mysterious. He hasn't been directly involved in the story for a while, so hopefully his big plans will be a little more explained soon. Nis, as I said, is an idiot, and I don't know. We're going to see a new version of her probably in M15, but I'm not too thrilled with her story-wise. Ral Zarek, one of the smaller characters, Jace kind of nudged him aside, and now he's doing nothing, so that's exciting. Sarkhan Vol will be back in Khans of Tarkir, so we'll talk more about him, I'm sure, story-wise and art-wise and everything else-wise, when Khans of Tarkir comes out, or the block itself comes out. He'll be, I hope, pretty cool. I like that he's tied to dragons, because that usually signals good things. Sorin is realizing that being a 1,000-year-old vampire doesn't mean anyone gives your work a sense of respect. They let out the Eldrazi, which was a huge project for him to lock them away in the first place, and now there's big problems. So he's trying to deal with Avacyn, who is not 100%, but he also now has to go deal with Zendikar. My guess is we'll see him in a return to Zendikar mode at some point. Tamiyo, again, is hanging out. I would prefer her to Jace reprinting a billion times, but Wizards doesn't seem to know what to do with her, even though she's really interesting and different. So she's hanging out. Tessera is also hanging out with Nicol Bolas. He doesn't really have much of an arc after New Phyrexia. He just goes back to Nicol Bolas, so I don't know what's going to happen with him. Tybalt is boring, probably the most boring person on this list. He doesn't do anything story-wise that matters in any way, and I don't know what he's going to be doing in the future. But chances are, being the worst Planeswalker card printed and being an irrelevant story character, we're not going to see much of him for a while. Venser is dead. All hell Venser. Vraska is hanging out dealing with Jace, trying to deal with Ravnica. We're probably not going to see her until a new Ravnica, maybe in a core set of some kind. I don't really know where she's going to reappear, but she's recently printed, so I don't expect much. And last up, we have Xenagos, who may not be dead. It's not clear what happens to mortals, but he's stuck. He may be stuck in the underworld. He might be dead permanently. Very unclear. I'm hoping he's not dead, though, because he's definitely one of the more interesting Planeswalkers they've made in a while. And this art is amazing. I want a wallpaper now. So let me know your guys' thoughts about these down below in the comment section. As I said, I'll link the article in the description. You guys can read them all and check it out. Any more speculation or thoughts you guys have, put it down in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.